I'm on the clock at number 1.
You are.
I'm going to select Jabari Smith at number 1.
Sharpie crossing off the list.
Oh God, just Sharpieing. What are we doing here?
A mock draft.
Okay, so why Jabari Smith at number 1 over Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, etc. Mm-hmm. So I've been pretty steadfast in that over the course of the last, let's say, I mean, I've probably been on this for a month now. Would you say that I've had Jabari
6 weeks
number
anyway.
1? Yeah, something like that. And it's because I think that if all the component pieces of Jabari Smith's game come together in terms of his elite level shooting already, his versatile defense that he's already displaying in terms of being able to slide laterally, be an available weak side rim protector, being generally available as a smart, intelligent help defender, I think that if he can, and also in addition to that, he's shown some real transition ability as a ball handler and as a shot creator in open spaces in a way that is impressive. I think that this is another circumstance where we look at these big dudes who are multi-talented, your Scotty Barneses last year, your whoever's, right? These bigger, taller guys that can actually handle the ball a little bit. Their skills tend to play up more in the NBA than in college because of the issues with spacing in college basketball. The court is just more condensed. The paint is more packed because the three-point line is shorter, and teams tend not to start their offense in spacing with off-ball players until right at that three-point line, because those are the easier shots to make, obviously, than starting it at 25 feet for a college player. So the court ends up just being more packed, and I think we often don't get a chance to see some of these ball skills that a lot of these bigger players have, because, again, if you're 6'10", you just take up more space on the court than if you're someone that's 6 foot tall, for instance, like Kennedy Chandler, right?
Totally.
So I think that there is some latent ball handling ability in Jabari Smith. I think that when you mix that with the shooting, it has a chance to really come together in a package that is the highest upside player in the 2022 NBA draft.
So I agree with most of that. And I have Jabari second. I think it's really close between him and who I will draft second in a minute here. With Jabari too, a couple things I had beyond that is he erased early the concerns I had about like the style being transferable to Auburn, because they play so fast and they play such this frantic pace. And he showed he can play really fast, can play the top of the press, trap, get his hands in passing lanes. Yep. And then when the court shrunk down, it's a half court game, he can play that style too. He can run some dribble handoffs, loves the high ball screen and popping out to shoot, can take it off the dribble a little bit. I want him to shoot it from 2 better, finish it a little bit better. His 2-point percentage numbers aren't the best, has NBA bloodlines. I'm also encouraged with some of the bad games he had, because as good as he's been, it shows he still has work to do. Like that South Carolina game, he had 4 turnovers. He got into double figures late. He forced some passes. He's very young as well. So I'll give him that. He's a stud. I'm not sure if he's first or second, but he's right there for me too. Really like him a lot.
Yeah, and I think that within this as well, just for people who aren't as familiar with these prospects, we should probably just like give a bit of biographical information on them. That's on me with Jabari Smith. So 6'10", what do you want to say? 225, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So somewhere between 220, 225, something in that ballpark. Power forward, I think he's more of a 4 than he is a 5. Like do you think there's a world where he could play some 5 in smaller lineups long term?
Yeah, sure. Smaller lineups or for stretches. I don't necessarily think he's a 5 all the time, because he'll get banged more in the post. He could then exploit those mismatches on the perimeter offensively, but I would more utilize him as a switching 4. That if he has to switch 4 to 3, 4 to 2, even 4 to 1, I'm okay. Rather than kind of have him on the post more, boxing out, calling out coverages. He's just more of an asset when he has the versatility to be flexible defensively.
Here's actually a good question. Do you think it's more likely that he slides down the lineup to the 3 or slides up the lineup to the 5?
Ooh. Right now, I'd say 5, just because
Mhm.
I don't necessarily buy the ball handling yet. If
Yeah.
that gets tighter and he gets a little bit more wiggle, yes. I
Yeah.
don't hold my breath when he drives, but I also don't feel great that he's going to get there and convert. Or if a second guy steps up, if it's not a Euro stepper behind the back, how is his counter to that? Where
Yep.
as a 5, he can simplify. It's catch and shoot, it's face up from the block, it's step out and take a 3, hit back for a side ball screen maybe. With the
Yep.
3, he would just need a little bit more offensive creativity to be able to create his own shot.
Yeah, and I agree with that for what it's worth. I just would also say that I think right now it's more likely he slides down toward the 3
Mm,
because I think it's a bit more likely that he adds those skills than I think where you are on
yeah.
him, which is fine. Like
Yeah.
I'm willing to be bullish on an 18-year-old adding just like a little bit of differentiation off the bounce, given some of the flashes we've seen in transition so far from him as a pull-up shot creator. But I would understand the opposite as well. The last note on Jabari Smith, he doesn't turn 19 until May.
Hey, yeah.
So
Young.
he is the youngest elite level prospect in this class. He is one of the youngest prospects, period, in this class. So I'm willing to bet on a continued meteoric rise